Bidri. I welcome you all on behalf of I.H.M.A Kerala State Chapter. I.H.M.A Kerala State Chapter has conducted a series of 50 sessions of Season 1 of free webinars, and this is the Season 2 of free webinars conducted by I.H.M.A Kerala State Chapter. And dear delegates, this Season 2 of free webinars will end by this July 25, and only permitted recordings will be uploaded in the YouTube, as some recordings consist of the information of the patients which cannot be disclosed in the internet. So I request all the delegates to make fruitful use of all the webinars. And before starting the session, we should remember our master, Dr. Samuel Hahnemann. As a homeopath, we all should owe all our credits to our master, Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, because without him, we are nothing today. And we all must feel very grateful for our master's determined and continuous efforts in spite of so much oppositions. So today's speaker, we have Dr. Sheetal D ma'am, and today's topic is on demystifying the plant kingdoms. So I would like to give an introduction about the speaker for today. Dr. Sheetal D. Bidri is a passionate homeopath and a holistic health enthusiast who graduated B.H.M.S and M.D homeopathy in Paediatrics from Government Homeopathic Medical College and Hospital, Bangalore. Inspired to pursue homeopathy at greater heights by learning under Dr. Usha, she completed the basic modules and SCPH from the School of Predictive Homoeopathy. She has learned from doctors in Bangalore, Pune, Mumbai and Kolkata, including Dr. Sanjeev Dole, Dr. Gaurang Gaikwad and Dr. Sunirmal Sarkar. She has taken extensive training from Dr. Rajan Sankaran through his WWR series online education portal. She was instrumental in the editing of books like Just You Think by Dr. Sunirmal Sarkar and Decoding Mental Rubrics and Materia Medica of Nosodes and Sarcodes by Dr. Gaurang Gaikwad. She holds great interest in holistic living, nutrition and fitness, and she is practicing at Happy Healing Holistic Homeopathy Clinic at Bangalore, serving the needy people. And she continues to be as passionate as ever in learning homeopathy in depth, sharing her experiences and breaking myths of homeopathy through seminars, webinars, and social media platforms. Ma'am, it is our privilege to have you in today's session, ma'am. Please, ma'am. Thanks for accepting the invite, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me here. I feel privileged to be a part of this free webinar series. I have to thank I.H.M.A and Hope lecture series, and thanks Dr. Ranjit Kumar for giving me this opportunity to come and share a little bit what I have learned from my gurus. And like you said, without much ado, I want to first, give salutations to our master. Like you very rightly said, ma'am, that we owe it all to him. And I owe it all to him because I did not choose homeopathy. Homeopathy chose me. So I feel, I have a lot of gratitude towards Dr. Samuel Hahnemann. And I would like to thank all my gurus who have guided me throughout my whole journey. I cannot name each one of them, but there are a lot in them. But you have mentioned most of them in my introduction. So without much ado, can I start the session?
Sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. You can start the session.
Okay, so today topic given to me was by Dr. Ranjit Kumar, and it was it's very difficult to amalgamate everything about plant kingdom in probably one session. It is a series of lectures probably, but I will try my best to cover as many points as possible, at least from the basics. So today's session, what I will be targeting towards is how we can first identify a plant in our practice, and what are the possible ways a plant can come towards in a clinical practice. And so apart from that, I will be sharing a few cases. Probably with cases, we'll do some learning about the families and see if how repertory can also teach us to learn the different families in the plant kingdom. So in this huge genre of what we have in the plant kingdom, even if we are able to study one or two, this should be a stepping stone. This should just be a trailer for you to go ahead and learn further. So if you have any doubts, you can ask me. I'll answer how much ever I know. But this I want to give a disclaimer that this should be probably a first step where you can go in depth into the plant kingdom to learn further. So if Dr. in IHMA can give me another chance, I can share different more other families. But I'll do my best in this particular session. So without much ado, so let's start off. So first we'll try to learn like how are plants in nature. So everybody has their own personality, like everybody has a way of living. So in plants, how we see them in the nature is that they're the only species who make their own living, their own food. And they are these self-dependent. They do not hunt for their food. They are self-dependent, and they are immobile. They cannot move around. So whatever it is that they have to do for their survival, it is at that particular time, at that particular place. They cannot move around. And there is a lot of sensitivity to the environment. So if you observe, if it rains, how the plant is. If it doesn't rain in the drought season, how the plant changes. If if it's too sunny, the leaves may dry up. If there's no sun, the flowers won't bloom. So there are different conditions where a plant requires to have its optimal growth. And that is why they're very sensitive towards their environment, how they are living, what are they surrounded with. So that is very important. So they are very sensitive to the minutest things. So they react very easily. So even if it is like they don't get that adequate amount of water for their growth, they do not grow well. So in danger, what can they do? Like I told, they are immobile. So in that, they try to adapt themselves. They try to probably shed. They probably shed the old leaves and new leaves grow up. So they have to adapt by themselves to survive that particular danger. If there's a storm, if there is a drought, they try to change their own way of living for their survival. So having said that, in our homeopathic field, how we have to learn a plant kingdom is that there's a theme that runs through and through these particular remedies. And the basic thing is that they are sensitive. Like we have learned again from the nature, there is a lot of sensitivity. They tend to react. There is a lot of reactivity. There can be an active reactivity or a passive. I will tell more in depth with the further slides, but a gist of what we have to learn from the nature, what we get is a theme, a basic theme of the plant kingdom, where there's a lot of sensitivity, there's a lot of reactivity, and there is adaptability also. So they tend to adapt to the situation. They change themselves a little bit where they can, adapt and survive through that particular situation or that particular environment. So having said that, if you observe, a plant can, this is very minute, right? You have all seen this touch me not plant. And so this is a very minute reaction, even a minute stimulus to that particular plant, it starts reacting. So the sensitivity and reactivity is in that manner. So we have different kinds of stimulus. We have shock, we have surprises, we have excitement, trauma, environmental changes. Plants are these people who have a lot of modalities. They're easily affected. Okay, this I ate this and I fell sick. A little bit breeze moved around me, so I fell ill. I got this sneezing because the temperature suddenly changed from damp to windy. So all of these environmental changes are very easily can easily affect the plants, and it's good enough stimulus for them to have that particular reaction in the body. So apart from that, there are hurt, there is injuries. Very easily they get hurt. Very easily they get anger. Very easily they get offended by somebody, or if there's something frightful, they easily get stimulated by it, or basically they have a particular sensitivity towards that particular condition. That is their stimulus. So how do we learn the kind of sensation that they go through in their particular body? So Now, sensation can be of different types. So one is that there's an opposite reaction to it. So we know each and every action has equal and opposite reaction. So in every sensation, we can see that there are opposite sensation also. If, for example, if somebody's feeling tight, and when I ask more about how tight they are feeling, they only want to know, I want this little loose. मेरे को loose चाहिए थोड़ा, I want to make it little loose. So they will talk in the opposite sensation because they do not like that particular particular sensation. For example, for another thing, I feel restricted. I want to break. Like I want to bahar jana hai. I want to go out. So these are the things they talk in. They talk it in opposite reactions, or they can talk in active or passive reaction. For example, if you have a particular, let's say you have a burn on your skin. So now in the burn, this you feel burning sensation on your skin. So now the burning sensation, what will you do? Probably you will itch. So you start itching. That is your active response. So that's an active reaction to that particular burn or the itch or an eczema around your skin. But what about passive reaction? Now the body itself tends to make it hot, or tends to make it more.
Ma'am, sorry for interrupting.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry for interrupting, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, actually, participants are requesting you to go a bit slow, ma'am. Can you please?
Is it
ma'am?
okay? Okay, no problem.
Thank you, ma'am.
No problem. So, do you want me to repeat the previous slide?
No, ma'am. We can continue with this, ma'am.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
You can stop me again if I'm going fast.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, done. So, first things, we finish the opposite reaction. We will talk, if I'm talking to them in a particular reaction, in a particular sensation. If for example, if I'm talking about tightness, do you feel tight around your neck? You feel tighter with this thing. They will talk in the opposite reaction, like I want looseness. I want to go, I want something free around my particular neck. They will talk in the opposite reactions. If it is a particular somebody, he wants to like I gave you an example of restriction, the feeling of restriction, and they feel like going out. They want to break open. I'm like, I want to go out. I want to feel the air. I want to go away. So these are the opposite ways of expressing a particular reaction. If that's in terms of case taking on how they come to you in the clinic. So they might talk to you in opposite reaction. So now coming to active and passive reaction, they have the exact immediate reaction where it is very instant, very spontaneous. It is uninhibited. So there's nothing that can stop them from doing that. That is active response. So I was giving an example of an itch, right? So if it is itching a lot, what do? You cannot tolerate it, you start itching. So that is the immediate response, and that is your active reaction. What is a passive reaction? Like same example, if we take the itch. Now the body tends to make it heat. There might be a lot of redness. There might be a lot of sweat. There might be swelling. So all this is the passive reaction of the body to adapt to the particular situation. And compensation. Compensations are nothing but how body adapts. For example, there's a lot of there's a lot of fight. There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of rage that the person wants to explore or wants to outburst. But then he just prefers to be in a calm situation to adapt that particular situation around him, so that he does not get affected by it. It's a compensatory mechanism of that particular person to adapt himself into a particular situation where he is around. So these are the types of sensations what we can see in different different aspects of the case. So what can be the reaction? So now we know about the particular actions, what can be done, what are the reactions or the perception of that particular person. He might say, I feel numb, I feel restricted, I fear of being hurt. All these things affect me. Like I was telling you, there's a lot of modalities in their particular in plant kingdom. So these are the things that affect me. Flowers affect me. wind affects me, the slightest smoke smell affects me, agarbatti affects me. So all these things, suddenly a lot of things that affects them. So that is there. Or it could be like that person's rudeness affects me, that person's this thing, that the way he talks to me affects me. All these things, they are getting affected because they are sensitive towards it and they get easily hurt. So these are some of the examples at how a plant might perceive himself in that particular environment. So what are the active responses? I've already told you about this, but let's go through it again. What are the active responses? So these can be reactive out of sensitivity. These are more spontaneous, more uninhibited. So for example, even if there is love, there is more spontaneity in that. If there is rage, there's a lot of rage. Suddenly, like Solanacea family, they might have a lot of violence in them also. So they like enjoyment or insulting or striking. These are all uninhibited and they're out of this spontaneous. They happen just like that. So they are active. Or it could also be like they can channelize the sensitivity. If they feel a particular, if they are hurt or if they are, offended, they might channelize themselves to something more creative form, something like an art form, drawing or, dancing or singing or writing or reading. So all these things are something which they do, which is channelized. Their sensitivity gets channelized to a particular stream of a creative field. Or it could be an uncontrolled or destructive like of reaction where it is a lot of violence. It is an active reaction. For example, out of fright in Soranacea family, they want to run away. They might shriek, they might shout, or they might come to even, bite you. Like in Belladonna, there's a lot of biting. So these are the uncontrolled, again, destructive kind of a response. So these can be the active responses. Okay. Then we have the passive responses. So, for example, now there is something happening. Okay, there's a death of a loved one. How can a plant respond? So they might feel numb. If they're not having an active response, they might also go into their passive responses. Like there might be a lot of numbness, or they might go unconscious, or they might get paralyzed, or they might have stupor and sluggishness, or they have collapse, tired, indolence, indifferent. So all these are passive, which do not have that uninhibited thing. So it does not come out of their system. So it is something which is passive and it benumbs them, or these are different kinds of responses what you can see in the passive responses. Then we have the compensation. Compensation is something that they defend their own sensitivity. Like I already explained to you, there's a defending of their particular sensitivity. So how do they do that? They have, again, different families have their different way of defending their own sensitivity. Like they might go towards calmness, some like tranquility, some like meditation, some tend to make up like they want to become independent so that they're not dependent on others. And some might develop attractive behavior like the liliephoraceae. They want to be included in the group, so they will have that attractive behavior so that they get included. So these are all compensatory mechanisms which it does not show, but it's an adaptation to defend their sensitivity or adapt to that particular limitation. Whatever limitation is around them, they tend to adapt and make it more easier for them to be surviving through that particular situation. Okay.
Ma'am, sorry for interrupting, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, many participants are having this query. What is the difference between active and passive reaction, ma'am? Can you please, ma'am?
Sure. So, like I told you, active is something that is sudden, or that is something which is uninhibited, or it is not under of your control. Like I told you, giving the example of the particular itch, active is you are itching it, right? So that is actively something you are doing to respond to that particular itch. Now, passive is when the body itself tries to, give a swelling or the heat or the redness. All of that becomes the passive response of the body. For another example, if I tell you, if there's an active responsive, first, if there's a sense of shock, if the person is feeling shocked. So what actively they might, start weeping, they start crying, and or they might go into violence. They might they don't accept a particular situation. They go into violence. But a passive reaction would be they might feel numb. They might not have any reaction. They might have painlessness. There are like Ignitia, like if Opal said, like they want to cry but they cannot cry. They cannot cry. They are kind of in a benumbed state. They are in a state where they cannot respond, or they collapse. They suddenly faint. These are all passive reactions where the body itself, uh, to respond that particular sensitivity, it itself changes its responses. So that is a passive reaction. So all these things, like feeling numb, feeling unconscious, or going into a paralyzed state. Some people might even feel that painlessness. All these things are passive reactions. Are you with me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so can I move ahead?
Sure, ma'am. Please.
Done. So if you would ask me, is this clear from any doubts at this particular point?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, you take care of the chat box because I don't.
Sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
So, okay, so now how is it different from, the other system, other kingdoms? Now, just to give a brief, probably different lectures can come and tell you more in depth. So what about in mineral kingdom? What about in animal kingdom? And how is it different in plant kingdom? So how are the reactions different? Because even you would ask me that, even Calcarea feels that, a particular way of fear is there. So all these things you will see the reactions you will see in the mineral and in the animal kingdom also. But how is it different? We can find out by that particular feeling. How do they feel? So let's say in mineral kingdom, we're talking, let's say if we're talking in case of fear of animals. This is just an example. If the person has a fear of animals, now animal kingdom remedy, what it would say that the animal is dominating me. Now he is stronger than me. There's a more competitive behavior. He is better than me. So that is why he has that fear. I will be overpowered by him. So that is the feeling of the animal kingdom, that is he against me. So that kind of a thing comes in the animal kingdom. But whereas in mineral kingdom, it is something that he feels. Why does he have the fear of animals? Oh, probably I cannot protect myself. I am not capable enough to protect myself. I am very scared of the animals because they might harm me. I have to protect myself. I am not, so I lack that particular courage. I lack that capability. So that lack of something and need of something is something what you see in the mineral kingdom. But in plant kingdom, they have that sensitivity. Okay, I have fear of animals. They just run. Some people just run, like, Soranisi family, they want to run and escape from the situation. Or they might scare, they're very scared. Oh, the animal might bite me. I'll have a lot of pain. It will hurt me. I cannot, do anything. Or some might have that fear, and I'm like, okay, I can't move now. I cannot go anywhere. I'm restricted. And there's a lot of fright. There's terror. And the very fact that the result of it, the pain what they have to go through during that particular confrontation with the animal, that is what they think of when they get that fear of animals. So that is the main theme of the plant kingdom, their sensitivity and how they react instantaneously in that particular situation. That is what we have with the plant kingdom. Okay, so now how do we find the sensation in our particular clinical setups? So where do we find it? Where will they come and tell you that, Arey, I'm feeling restricted, give me give me Rastox, or I cannot move, I don't have space, so give me malice. No, they're not going to come and tell you that. So you have to probe in, where you have to ask, and then during the case taking, it will beautifully come out to you in various places. So it may not be only in the particular sensitivity, it can also be in chief complaint, it can also be in the dreams. The dreams can lead you towards a particular sensitivity, and then you can probe into that. And then even in the hobbies and interests, you can more often find the opposites of what it's troubling them. You find the opposite in that hobbies and interests, because that is what they like. So they go towards that, and you will find their opposite, or what the kind of sensation they desire. You will find that in hobbies and interests. So it's very easy to ask, like, if you can, even if you ask one particular, let's say they have some issue, a chief complaint, probably they have piles, and you ask them, what is the effect of this? What is the effect of this particular complaint? And then you will see the answers coming in differently from different answers. So to where to find the sensation, I would say it is in your case taking. So you have to be patient from the starting till the end. And the best thing to do is to allow the patient to talk, allow him to elaborate as much as possible. So what I tend to do is, like, I just let them say that, okay, tell me what's bothering you. And then they might start from the dreams, they might start from the sleep, they might start from, something that happened at home. They might start from, they might even forget that they had a chief complaint of probably an eczema or probably a headache. They will tell you what is bothering you first. So then from there you can move on to different areas and see how it comes across in all the areas, the similar kind of sensation. So we can find the particular sensation not only in a particular only in mind section or the dream section, or if you have delusions in them, but even in chief complaints. For example, very common, if I have to tell you, would be the rust talks. If in the rust talks, what is the chief complaint? There is a feeling of restriction in the particular joint. So what do they want to do? They want to move around, right? So that is the opposite. So that gives them relief. The initial, so that is the opposite, and you can find that in their particular mind, or in that particular sensation, in their particular dreams. So this kind of sensation can be located anywhere in your case taking. You just have to be patient and stick with the patient throughout the whole journey during the case taking, because he's talking his remedy. So we have to just be vigilant and just let him talk to give you that particular sensation. So probably in the cases we can understand better. So can we start with